What are you on track to make for 2024 in revenue?
I'm on track to make 60,000 this year.
How old are you, Maria?
I'm 23 years old. I've seen so many examples and so many people who've inspired me throughout the course and mentors and videos and everything. And the fact that I'm one of those people now, it's mind blowing.
Another episode of On the Road, but this time we're down in Miami with signing agent Maria in Miami, Florida. How you doing today?
Hi, I'm good, Mark. How are you?
Oh, girl, I'm so good because this is another inspirational conversation. So this has inspired people right out of the gate. What are you on track to make for 2024 in revenue?
I'm on track to make 60,000 this year.
$60,000.
Oh,
How old are you, Maria?
I'm 23 years old.
23 years old, on track to make $60,000. When I say that to you, how does that make you feel?
Oh, Jesus. It's been a dream. It makes me feel so accomplished and so blessed. It's incredible. I've seen so many examples and so many people who've inspired me throughout the course and mentors and videos and everything. And the fact that I'm one of those people now, it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. It's exactly where I wanted to be, and I want to, be even better one day. But I was just telling you right before the interview, like I have watched a million of these, and the fact that I'm here now doing one is like, oh,
Yeah.
it's insane. You have no idea.
You were 23 years young, making $4,000, $5,000. You had a $2,000 week. You made
Yeah.
$2,000 in 1 week, like 3 weeks ago. We're going to share all that. I want young people to be inspired by you, right? I want someone else who's 21, 22 to realize that this business is for them. You're 9 months in, you're already making $4,000 to $5,000 a month. Like, that's incredible. So I want a 22-year-old, a 23-year-old watching this right now to be inspired by you because your story is awesome. Story of early perseverance. You're wise beyond your years. And I want to share that with everybody. So I'm just so proud of you. And I know I'm going to do another interview 2 years from now, and you'll be the next Melina. But I wanted to share your story early to inspire another 22-year-old. So let's talk to some young adults in this conversation. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
So take us back, right? I mean, you're only 23. You have a $4,000 or $5,000 a month business. What led you to this point? And why did you choose to become an entrepreneur at such a young age? And so take us back and really help someone else understand that this is your journey.
It really started at the pandemic when I was going to college. I'm from Venezuela. I'm an immigrant, and because of my immigration status, I don't qualify for FAFSA. I don't qualify for any government help to pay for school. And the moment that really gutted me was when it was the beginning of the pandemic, and my dad told me, "Hey, we don't know what's going to happen with our jobs. We don't know what we're going to do. Trying to make rent. You're going to have to put a hold on school." And putting a hold on school while watching all my other friends graduate was gut-wrenching. It was absolutely horrible. I felt powerless. I just felt I felt I felt jealous. I did, because I said I deserved that. I deserve that too. I deserve an education. I deserve to graduate. I deserve all the work I've put in, towards school, and it kind of just washed away from me all because I couldn't afford it anymore. I was making a business, or if I was making money with my business or anything I could do, I would still be going to school right now. And that was a turning point, most
Well,
definitely.
thank you so much for that vulnerability. And I love how you were very honest and just said I was jealous, right? And it's funny how life has a weird way of showing us our path, but sometimes we don't know it when we're in the middle of it. And I
Uh-huh.
think that moment of resiliency is what made you such a good business owner so young. You're a daughter of immigrants, and it was from day one, you're going to college.
Yeah.
Day one is you're doing this route because this is the American dream. We came here so you can get an education and live the American dream. And so it must have been hard for you to see your parents almost feel like they let you down. Talk
Yeah.
about
Yeah, most definitely. It was horrible, just because as we were watching the entire world go down, and thank God during the pandemic, we didn't have any health issues or anything like that. But that doesn't mean it wasn't hard. We're trying to make rent every single month, put food on the table. And on top of that, I had to put a hold on school. And, like I said, it could have been a lot worse. We didn't have many health issues during the pandemic, thank God. Like, health is always first. But like I said, I just felt held back. I felt extremely held back, and I do feel like my parents felt like they had let me down, with putting a pause on school because that's really what they came here for. Like, they thought, okay, she's gonna go to university, she's gonna do this, and the pandemic just
Yeah, put a kibosh on it.
completely stopped that.
So talk us through that part of the phase. Again, you're so young, and what I want to say real quickly is, I get to know you through our direct messages or through the Facebook group, but it's really cool to hear you now because now I know why you're as successful as you are, so young and so quick in the business. Is you had every reason to be upset at what happened, but the first thing you just told me was like, Mark, everything sucked, but we had our health. And so when we're able to see the sun through the clouds is when you know you're meant to be a business owner. Because all business is. Business is like really always seeing the sun through the clouds because there's ups and there's downs. And so it was cool to hear you say that because now I know why you're so successful so young. It's this because of your parents, they've given you this attitude of gratitude. And that's what it really takes to get through being an entrepreneur. And so that's why you are where you are. And your parents have a lot of credit for that because it really takes that attitude of gratitude to get through the early stages of running a business, and now it's obvious why you have that tenacity and or resilience. But take us through the next thing, right? You're 20 years old. My guess is you're like, all right, I got to get a job. Walk us through that.
I had a best friend. Well, she is one of my best friends. Her name is Genesis. She had told me, "Hey, I have been working at our local municipal government. I had grown up there most of my life, and she was like, they're looking for people. Why don't you apply?" I applied, and I actually got a better position than what I was hoping for. It was a dream position. It was, but it wasn't my dream. So I always knew I wanted to work for myself. Another reason why I do credit a lot, and if not all my success to my parents, was I remember this one day my dad came in to the office and he was just dropping off lunch for me or something. And he said, "Mija, I'm going to tell you the truth. I feel very sad seeing you in that cubicle because I know you're capable of doing so much more with your life. And I don't want to see you stuck here for the rest of your life in a bubble, working for someone else." And I had already been feeling that way. I had already felt like this is an amazing job, but I don't belong here. I really don't. So when he told me that, I said, okay, there has to be something out there. My my family is in real estate, I could get into that. I just didn't really know what I wanted to do until one of the requirements for my position was actually to become a notary. So I was like, okay, what is this? I mean, I know people just stamp and that's pretty much it, but I just kind of I did a deep dive and I fell down a rabbit hole and I'm still down there. I haven't gone back out.
And you haven't left and you never will leave. Well, again, I think, again, kudos to your parents and kudos to your dad really saying something that probably you didn't want to hear, but you had to hear. And that really just fortified what your instinct was. And so it's a beautiful thing. And you're so young, you're 22 at the time. And now you're only 23 years old and you have a full-fledged business that's consistent. You get business directly through real estate. I mean, realtors and lenders and escrow officers. And I think it's a beautiful thing you've built. And I wanted to get you on early in your journey because I had to dig into like what drives a 22 and 23-year-old to have such a successful business. And now we know. Let's kind of jump to your income journey, okay?
Yeah.
So you go down that rabbit hole and you become a loan signing system student. And how much money did you make your first month in the business?
I made $90, so
$90.
less than $100. Yeah. My second month, I want to say $100.
Okay.
Maybe I passed like a little bit 100.
And then what did you make your third month?
Third month was definitely, I want to say a little bit more. It was like around 250.
Okay.
250,
So
right?
what I'm reading here, I'm writing this down, is you made 90 your first month, 100 your second, 250 your third. Again, we have students who are barn burners, right? And do go right out of the gate and make $8,000. You're not one of those students, but that's okay. So talk me through the mindset of $90. Why didn't you get discouraged from that? And why did you just keep moving to build it where you are today?
Because I'm disciplined. And when I have a goal, I I do absolutely everything I can to accomplish it. And I knew from the start that this was only just a start.
What I heard is somebody who will cheer for the next person's successes, but focus on my journey. And again, wise beyond your years because you're 23 years old, 22 years old, and we have 40-year-old students who can't just focus on their journey. There, how come everyone else is making $1 million and I'm not? And but that's what I really hear. Somebody who really understands patience is the key to success in anything in
Yeah.
life. And for you to realize that so young is just so incredible. What's the average age of one of your direct clients?
40 to 50,
Okay, 40, 50.
35 to
Okay,
50. Yeah.
35, 40 of you, 50 years old, somewhere in there. You're only 23 or 22 at the time.
Yeah.
How come you didn't let your age be an excuse you couldn't make this business work?
Because age doesn't matter when you're professional, when you're disciplined, when you're professional, when you're responsible, when you're knowledgeable. Age doesn't matter. If anything, I see that as an asset for my business because they go, wow, this girl, she's only 22, 23 years old and she is out here, doing what I do. And it's true because I do feel like young people bring such a fresh approach to the
Mhm.
business. And that is something I definitely relied a lot upon when I'm marketing direct to my clients and things like that.
What would you say to that notary or the person thinking about the business, but letting this limiting belief that their age is really going to prevent them from making money? What would you say to that 22, 23-year-old?
Why not? You're if you know what you're talking about and you know exactly what you're doing, why wouldn't you get business? There's people that are less credible, that have less credibility, that have less knowledge than the people who have taken a million courses maybe and are around my age that are doing less just because they don't believe in themselves.
No college degree, and you have a 50, $60,000 a year business. I think you're a walking inspiration, right? This idea that you can build this business to 50 or $60,000 a year at 23 years old, 22, no college degree, but you didn't. But what I hear is someone who doesn't let excuses create the direction of their life. It is, I'm going to work hard. You keep using the word disciplined. I've heard you use the word professional. And I hope other 22, 23-year-olds are hearing this right now because age is not relative if you know what you're doing, like you said. And if you have your education, I'm going to have to give a little credit to the loan signing system. If you have
Of course.
education,
If anything, all the credit.
oh, I appreciate you, girl. But if you have education and your self-belief, the world is yours. 3 months in, you're doing 250. The fourth month in is when this kind of goes big, right? So what do you make your fourth month?
I made $1,000.
Okay,
My fourth
so
month.
you're like, wow,
$800 jump.
$800 jump, a 4x in revenue. What changed?
Marketing direct. I
Mm.
was still working a full-time job, and as I'm saying the word discipline a lot because it most definitely is a lot of discipline. I sometimes, if not 3 to 4 times a week, I would miss out on my lunch break because it's the only break I had to, go out and market to clients, and that's exactly what I would do. I would go drive. If I had to go drive 30, 40 minutes to a client, I don't care, but I wanted that client. I wanted their business. I wanted to meet them. And I knew in the end it was going to benefit my business and it was going to propel my business forward. And that's exactly what I did.
She took off lunches to go market direct. Well, Mark, I have a full-time job. I can't market direct. A 22-year-old who knows what it takes to build a business will tell you the opposite. If you can choose to eat lunch in your cubicle or at the cafeteria, or you can figure out beforehand via Google Maps where everybody is, go do your marketing, come back and work your business. What would you say to somebody who says it's slow? What would you say?
So I have this especially specifically for that question. So these are all the checks that I had from 2023. This is 2023, right? Okay, these are all my checks from 2023. And these are all my checks from just this year, January 1st, all of these checks. This is all I have. And this one, actually, I'm very proud of this one for people that's saying it's slow right now. This is a $500 check for one closing that I did. One.
$500
So
check for one closing.
$500, yeah. Don't know if you can see that, but It's there. The proof is in the
So
pudding. So
let me ask you this question. How long did that appointment take that you had to make, did you earn $500 on?
it was far. It was far away. But if anything, it took an hour. It was a regular buyer closing. It was a buyer closing. It was just regular.
So
And
you made $500 in an hour without a college degree at 23 years old. When I say that to you, like when I say that back, like what are you thinking? Like what an insane business, right?
just because during the course and everything that I've learned and stuff, and it's always you can make 150 an hour, you can make 175 an hour, and that's already mind-blowing. But the fact that that check for $500 for 1 hour of my time that I do what I do every single day, that's half of what I used to make in a paycheck at my full-time job in an hour, in 1 hour, which is just insane.
Tell me you love this business without saying you love this business.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that literally the proof is in the pudding, most definitely. I mean, just the other week, actually, the last week of February, I made $2,200, and that's what I used to make in a month at my full-time job. Like, I'm telling you, it's insane. It's insane.
You know, what I don't want to do is take away from your amazingness. You were the one at lunchtime marketing direct so you can make that $500 an hour. You're the one marketing 3 days a week when you had a full-time job so you can make $2,000 a week in the future. See, what happens a lot of times is people want to plant the seeds and pick the fruit the same day. You understood that, and this is what blows my mind and why I wanted to get you on here. The fact that you could be disciplined enough to go out and market at lunchtime is why we're having this conversation right now. The fact that you're able to be disciplined enough to market numerous times a week during lunch is why you made $2,000 in a week. And what I tell every student is everybody has the same course. Not everybody does the same thing with it. And what I would argue about being young in your favor, right? And I don't think a lot of young signing agents take this in consideration is you have more free time than most, right? You're not married, you don't have a kid. And so you're taking advantage of that stage of your life is my point, right? And I want more
Definitely,
people
yes.
to understand what we're talking about right here is that you're taking advantage of being young and responsibility-less. Like all I got to do is worry about me and all I got to do is worry about building the business. And so I want to make sure that you're getting your flowers. And I hope this is inspiring other 22-year-olds is take advantage of your freedom, the freedom to build, take advantage that you don't have a lot of responsibility because
Most definitely. I mean, while people were out clubbing and stuff, I was just doing like the LSS course, and not to say that clubbing is bad or anything, it's not. But now, since I'm a business owner, I mean, I'm a full-time business owner, I can do whatever I want now. I can go clubbing right now if I wanted to. No one's
that's
gonna tell me
right.
no.
I mean, when you go in and market your business to a 45-year-old, 50-year-old, do you feel like they look at you any different? Or is that just a limiting belief by a 22-year-old?
I'm not gonna lie and say like, oh, I didn't feel a little intimidated or maybe I felt a little judged. Sometimes of course I did, but you know, that if anything that just gave me more fire into my pump to show
Mhm.
more credibility, to show that I am knowledgeable, to show I do know what I'm talking about. And if anything, it's happened to me a bunch of times where I am working with my 40, 50, 60-year-old clients, and they'll tell me like, oh, this and this on the notary verbiage, and I go, actually no, because that's unlawful, you can't do that. I also work with attorney clients and lawyers and stuff, and mind you, they're sometimes like, oh, thanks, thank you, and kind of get that like that little hug to like,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
and
yeah.
it's true, and that's exactly where professionalism and credibility comes in, because I have a successful business and I have a lot of clients because I know what I'm doing. I have a lot of credibility, I have a lot of experience, and I know my laws, and it doesn't matter your age
Yeah.
when you have that type of professionalism.
What I just heard is education takes the place of age, especially in our business. Literally, nobody cares if you're 22 or you're 78. All they care is can you not miss signatures and can you guide the borrower through the closing in a lawful, correct way. And age is this is one of the rare businesses in America where people really don't care how old you are. They just care, can you execute the job? You already have a pace to have a $60,000, $70,000 a year. Um, like what would the number one piece of advice you would give to another signing agent to scale their business? What would that be?
Be disciplined.
Mm.
Be disciplined and know your path, and don't listen to the naysayers, because if anything, me taking my lunch hour to go market to clients, that's because I was disciplined. And I said, no, I do want to make this business work and I do believe in myself. In fact, when I actually told my dad that I was, studying to become a notary signing agent and stuff, he didn't really know much about that, even though he does work in real estate. He didn't know much about that. And he was like, oh, I mean, yeah, I hear that sometimes they make like $5, $10 a stamp. Like that doesn't really. And to this day, he still tells me, I am so glad you didn't listen to me. He says, I am so glad you were disciplined and that you didn't listen to me, because now, you know, like I said, there's just a lot of naysayers, and you have to be disciplined and you have to just trust the process. Just trust the process
Mm.
and know exactly what you're doing. And really, it sounds cliche, but yes, believe in yourself, because if you don't, then no one else will.
At 22, where did you have this wherewithal to trust the process? Because, you went to your first direct client, they didn't use you the next day, right? You went to
My
three title
first
companies.
my first direct client, it took me 3 months of marketing to finally get a signing from them, and they're one of my best clients.
I hope everybody heard that. And then again, that's disciplined and that's trusting the process. Like trusting the process was following up. Trusting the process was knowing that like with enough effort, I'm going to get some business. How many times did you have to follow up with that client in 3 months to get them to use you?
Once a week, if
Yeah.
anything, once to twice a week.
I
Yeah.
hope everybody hears that. That's discipline. That's
Yeah.
trusting the process. And that's someone who really understands that the more they see you, the more they can trust you. And sometimes it's all the follow up is. The follow up has nothing to do with what you say. It's just creating that credibility of like, if I show up every day, every once a day, every week, and they consistently imagine what doing business with me is going to be like. I'm going to show you that much more. And so sometimes I think what's lost, Maria, is the follow up is sometimes just showing people what you're made of. And
Mhm.
people want to work with people who are built out of resilience, who always smile when they walk in, who always are upbeat and just like, you haven't used me yet, but that's okay. I'm coming back in and I'm saying hello. And you had every reason to be a victim, but you
I
chose
had all
not
the
to.
excuses too.
That's right. And all the excuses, and no one would have blamed you. No one would have blamed you for being in that corporate government job after the pandemic with no college education, and being an immigrant. Like you're an immigrant, you have no college education, like this is the best you're gonna be. But you had bigger plans for yourself, man. And I want people to be inspired by that. And when you set limitations on yourself, that's when we get in trouble.
Yeah, I had all the excuses in the world. I said, oh, I can't go to college. I'm an immigrant. I don't qualify for FAFSA. Okay, that's fine. I was at a government job that, yes, it could be anyone's dream to have a job like that. But like I said, it wasn't mine. It wasn't my dream. And I didn't want to be at a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life. And and let me tell you, it was a very comfortable job. It was a very comfortable job. Obviously I made less than what I make now, but I had all the excuses in the world to just chill out and be like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay here. That's fine. But you know what? I didn't want to blink one day and be 50 years old and think, oh, I missed some of my children's
Yeah.
milestones, or I wish I could go on vacation, but I can't because I don't have paid time off, or I don't have vacation days. And I didn't want to live the rest of my life like that. And I knew from a very young age. So I feel like that's where a lot of the discipline came in, because like I said, I just trusted the process and I knew where I was going, and I know where I am going to go,
Yeah.
in the future, because I do have very big plans for FEMA signings. So, but yeah, uh, like I said, I have all the excuses in the world, but if you don't believe in yourself, then who else is going to?
You know how to think 4 or 5 steps ahead. Have this idea that one day you're going to have a family. And so you
Mhm.
need to put yourself in the position now to best serve the family you don't have yet, is thinking 3 or 4 or 5 steps ahead. Knowing that you're going to want to go on vacation and not need to feel like you need to ask somebody to go on vacation is thinking 4 or 5 steps ahead. And that's what, by the way, this is why you're a great business owner. You're disciplined, you're professional, you think 3 or 4 steps ahead, you see problems ahead of time, you anticipate, and you have create solutions early. I hope everybody heard what I just said, because that's what business owners do. We anticipate problems and then put in solutions before the problem ever happens, so the problem never exists. And that
Definitely.
happens very intuition based with you, which is beautiful. It's why you're built for this business. And that's why you're going to even take this business bigger than Melina Froyne Mayer. Watch out, girl. Maria's coming. But I'm so proud of you. Let's get to the last question, okay? Everybody kind of has a regret, meaning that like, I wish I would have done this sooner because I don't want someone making the same mistake I made. So what is that one thing that you wish you would have done sooner now that you're 9 months into this bad boy?
I wish have started marketing direct sooner. I wish.
Mm,
I
okay.
wish, because there is such a need. There is a need for it, especially even in a bustling city like Miami. There is a need for it, most definitely. I wish I would have believed in myself a little bit more, because you always want that experience, and you always like, oh, but like if I get maybe five more signings and learn something from there, and I'll go, and no, I definitely, one day I just woke up and I said, I want to do this. I want to work direct, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. And I didn't even know what I was doing. I just literally got like a little gift bag, and I said, okay, I guess. Oh, I was very strategic with who I marketed first as well, too. I looked for a very big title company in my area that had multiple branches and stuff like that, and I said, okay, they're in my area. They're like 2 miles away from me. Uh, let's go over here. Okay, let's do it. Yeah. And I honestly, if anything, maybe I choked or something the first time I went. I was so nervous. I was so nervous. And yes, my first time. It did take me 3 months, to finally get their business, but I just kept pushing. I kept pushing. I kept believing in myself, and I said, you know what, I'm going to get their business. I'm going to do it, and that's exactly what happened. So, if anything, if I would have started sooner, I would have gotten their business sooner.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, most definitely. And I also build relationships with a lot of my clients, and that helps as well, of course. But
Well, let me say so you keep going back to I wish I would have done it sooner. Was there some limiting beliefs you had that just were not true, and so the reason sometimes we don't, like you said it specifically, like I just got to get five more signings, right? What were some other limiting beliefs that a 22-year-old would have that maybe prevented them, that every title company already had their notaries, that it was saturated, and that there's no way they're going to need another notary? Talk out loud about that limiting thought, and if it
yeah,
came to be true.
like I said, I was around 3 to 4 months into the business. I said, okay, I'm not sure if I have enough experience. What if they ask me something I'm not, sure of the question? And then obviously there is that little belief where, okay, like if they already have a notary, well, you know, I'm gonna be over here, kind of talking to a wall. You get what I'm saying? But if anything, I've learned a lot from that. I learned a lot from that. And first of all, like I said, very cliche, but it just really comes in believing yourself and trusting your education and trusting everything you learned. And also just, if anything, having a little bit more, how can I say it? Maybe like charisma or quick thinking, if anything, because I would go to title companies, big title companies that have I don't know how many offices here in the United States, but I always told them, hey, you might have your favorite notary or something like that, and that's totally fine. Everyone has good people on their team. But if one day they're on vacation or you need someone last minute and they can or something, I am always here. I'm 2 miles away. Just give me a call if anything. And it's come through. It's come through a lot.
What I hear is someone who said, trust what you learned. Because I think a lot of people take the course and they almost want to question what's in the course. Like, oh, that's not going to work. I'm 45 years old. There's no way that is. But you're like, look, I'm 22. I don't know any different. So I'm going to trust what Mark taught me and go execute. And so there's power in that phrase.
I once heard it was a saying where it was just like, oh, if you want to do something, do it young, because you're
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah.
You think you're very naive, you're very, and you'll learn as you go. And that's exactly what this business has been. I have just learned as I've, grown.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think too many people don't trust what they learned. They take my course and they're like, oh, Mark's scripts are good. They don't work. Well, you're like, or you can trust it and go say it and learn from it. Like, you paid for education. Why am I going to question the education? Like Mark
Yeah,
says, go to a title company. Well, I'm going to go to a title company. Mark says, go to a realtor. I'm going to go to a realtor. And again, that's what I mean. Everybody has the same course, but not everyone does the same thing with it. Like, you didn't guess
exactly.
my instruction. You'd be surprised at the amount of people that do, by the way. You're like, I don't confused, like why'd they pay you money? And I say the same things, but what I love about you, and I think it's because of your age, is like you just trusted what you learned. There's some naivety in that because as you get older, sometimes you get burnt and so you become a little bit more skeptical. But I love at 22, you're just like, I paid for the education, so like, why wouldn't I just apply it?
Yeah, apply it. Exactly. And
So
that's why I also, when sometimes I hear like, oh, in my area, like all the title companies already have notaries, or oh, it's really slow right now, I'm not gonna have business. That's exactly why I had these checks on hand. Because I said I see that every single day, and I'm like, I mean, okay, girl, whatever, do with that what you will. You can keep thinking that. If anything, I'm gonna go market to those clients that you think are doing slow right now or don't
that's
need a
right.
notary.
That's right.
So
Girl, I am so proud of you. I mean, this conversation is incredible. I know this is just the tip of the iceberg. I know that you're going to have a 7-figure business. I know you're going to be the next Calvin Darville, the next Marina, the next Irene Ruda. Um,
that's crazy. That'd be
there's
crazy.
there's no doubt. And so my parting words is I'm proud of you, man. My parting words is don't stop what you're doing. Don't second guess things. Keep trusting the system. Keep trusting your process, and never stop believing in you. But I'm proud of you.
Thank you so much, Mark. No, thank you for everything. I would not be anywhere near without you. And I tell you this all the time. Like, thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. If you can build this business at 22, speak to another 22-year-old. Can any 22, 23-year-old build this business? Take their last words.
Most definitely. If you're disciplined enough and you work towards it, yeah, of course, why not? Like I said, if you don't believe in yourself, who else will? Who?
And that's it. So until next time, girl, thank you so much. Bye.